Hello, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media. As you know, today is a Friday. We are hosting another friend of ours and whom we are going to discuss with issues about devolution. As you know, today marks 10 years ever since devolution was started. And today, and also I can remember they were closing down on the conference in Eldoret. Before we go into discussion, may I take this opportunity to invite our friend to introduce himself to the viewers?
Thank you very much. My name is Kevin Ngala, a resident of Kisumu County here in Kenya. It's the first time I'm in this show, and I'm ready to discuss the debate we have in totality.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
very much. Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kevin. Kevin,
Mm.
just to let you know, it's almost 10 years ever since the county government started or devolved government started. And as I said earlier, today they were closing the last day. I mean, the last day of conference in Eldoret, where they talked of so many things. But as a Kenyan citizen, the 10 years, have you seen something good to talk about or something bad about the devolved system of government?
Well, where do I start? I think the idea of devolution was a well thought and organized way of decentralizing some of the powers from the national government. And devolution is one of the best ideas all over the world. Since I don't know whether it's greed, but in all nations where we have centralized government, we have leaders who only think of their own interests. And in most cases, up to 80% of the expectation of the public is not executed as expected after every elections. So devolution was a well thought idea, and it was one of the best thing that was put in the constitution, so that it can at least, so that Kenyans can at least find a way of benefiting up to the grassroots level. The government share should now be trickling down to the grassroots level. So the idea was good, but it has its teething problems. It's now 10 years, but the child is not yet born because
Mhm,
of probably the kind of leadership that we are having in Kenya.
mhm,
And I think mostly our people are not sensitized on the roles that our leaders should undertake when they're elected.
mhm,
So, in one way or the other, you end up with rogue leaders who are not keen or rather interested
mhm.
in serving the people that elected them on a platform of change.
Yeah.
So I'd say the little that we have seen has changed our lives, and we expect that it can do a lot. The challenge we are having is that the national government
Mhm,
appears to be lacking the goodwill
mhm,
or the positive spirit of implementing the evolution the way it is supposed to be done.
mhm.
Sure.
Okay, you've talked about the rogue leaders, and when I look at the county government, sometimes I feel like the leaders themselves do not have the priorities at the counties. What should
Mm,
be the agenda on the list usually is like the last on the list. For instance,
mm,
when you come, a typical example is the one in Kisumu about the milking plant that was initiated by the previous government, that for the government Ranguma, whereby after the plant, so many residents of Kisumu, they appointed people and they gave them these dairy cattle to to
mm,
to rear so that they can produce milk to take to the factory. And you
mm,
find that there's a lot of money that is put in place for those kind
mm,
of projects. Then they don't. go far, maybe the contractor leaves and with the money, yet the project is not completed. Then
Yes.
we have a situation whereby, because like when you look at the dairy, it's for selected few, but we have
Mm.
issues like around when you go to the hospitals, whereby we should pump a lot of money, because that's where like the majority of the counties will always meet, because people always have issues with their health. Yeah. What
Yes.
can you say about the priorities of our leaders?
You know, what happens is that when we are always going for these elections and we have leaders who campaign with political manifests that even they themselves don't understand.
Yeah.
And probably the technicality about these political manifests is that even the public, the electorates who are electing these leaders, are
Yeah.
not given time or are not taking their time to verify if the kind of leader that they want to elect matches the type of political manifest, his historical background, his ability, you know.
Mhm.
So, in most cases, where we start going wrong is when we elect our leaders. Now, when these leaders come to office, they start fishing for what to do. It's like they also get there and get surprised that they couldn't believe they can be governors, and they start focusing on their own interest, on how they can loot their friends that they can invite in the government, who is to be rewarded, you know. And this is where we've been going wrong. And at some point, Jack Ranguma was elected in 2013, and 2013 was the first time we were having devolution being implemented in Kenya.
Mhm.
And we had a very big challenge all over Kenya with almost all our governors, because they could not understand what it meant to be a governor. Being a
Mhm.
governor is like devolving the presidency. You have your own cabinet, you have your own legislation. We have the MCS. The MCS are even worse when they are elected, because
Mhm.
even they don't merit, most of them don't merit
Mhm.
to participate
Mhm.
in National Assembly. You remember at some point we had a challenge even with with the communication
Yes.
in his assembly. We had MCAs who couldn't even speak fluent English,
Yeah.
and they could not understand some of the things that were being proposed to them by the CECs. That is the county executive ministers. They could not understand. So when you have a good governor, you have rogue MCAs. These things have to be passed in the assembly. You pass something that you don't understand. So these are some of the challenges that Ranguma was facing, and even these proposals of doing projects like the dairy milk, those are
Yeah.
just afterthought. Because as a governor who campaigned to change the entire system through decentralization, first
Mhm.
thing he was supposed to understand that we had our own commercial farming that we were doing. What
Mhm.
happened to the rice? What happened to the cotton farming? We have sugarcane.
Mhm.
Why do you leave all these that were changing lives directly with the farmers who understand what it means to do farming in rice, doing farming? Why do you shift gears into another project without making the farmers understand what they want to engage with? It was a good idea to have dairy farming, but the question is, when was the last time you saw Luos engaging in dairy farming? You'll hardly remember. So that is what the problem is. We have leaders whom, when they're elected, they start fishing for what to do. They think, oh, let me try this. At the end of the day, time goes and nothing is done at all. Huh?
Yes, I agree with you. And talking about MCA, and I can give you a typical example, though, when the recent scandal that was on the social media and all the news outlets, was the
Yes.
one between the governor for Siaya, James Orengo, and his deputy, or Oduol, yeah, William Oduol.
Yeah.
To my surprise was when all this counter accusation came, the MCAs took a stand and they sided with the Rengo. Or my question is, why as MCA, why did they have just to take a stand, or without them doing their due diligence by investigating to find out whether what the accusation Oduol was leveling against the governor were true?
Yeah.
But instead, they brought in another accusation about Oduol doing his office with the county money. Yet they have the committees that approve the money that should be used on the county. How then are the MCAs themselves are going to be accountable to run to the executive?
Yeah. You see, Benson, what is happening, yeah? When we elect our leaders, first it begins with the type of political party that is influential within the region that they're coming from. For instance, if you look at Homa Bay is more of ODM, and it's very hard for any other party to succeed within those areas. So the challenge that maybe was there, if I've gotten your question correctly on how they unanimously agreed on removing him,
Mhm.
uh, you see, the political manifest in ODM is now one, since the assembly has got one political party that has elected almost all the MPs. There's no minority, there's no opposition in that place. So it is very easier for the MCAs to decide on one thing, or to agree on one thing, to be whipped, to pass one thing. And in one way or the other, you see, at the end of the day, the truth will always come out. If Odwol is wrong, time will tell.
Yes.
If Orengo is wrong, time will tell. But from your question, you like to know the processing of this making decisions in the county assembly. But I'll tell you, mostly it is influenced because it is influenced by the assembly having a setup of, or dominated by, one single party. So in such a environment, it becomes very difficult for somebody to do the checks and balances. But again, Orengo has been in office, I think it's now almost 9 months down the line. And if you look at even the body language of Oduol himself and Orengo, you will come to realize that the differences is just a kind of political disagreement. Because Oduol looks like he's enjoying and very comfortable, and probably working with the current government that came in through UDA. And you know, there's a challenge between or there's conflict between the current government and the other party, ODM, that Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga stood with. So these are some of the things that happens when assemblies are set up or dominated with one party. So hopefully, I'm not sure, but hopefully, if there are other opposition parties that can come in, which I don't know when it will ever happen, then you can always expect push and pull when such scenarios appear. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you. I am hearing.
Yes. So
Mhm.
these are some of the things. You see, the political factor, the political agreements that people make can also become a problem within. And you see, these are two conjoined twins that can never be separated, because you campaign on a political manifest from the party that you are contesting with. And when you are elected, people will expect you to be loyal to that party. So I don't know what happened between Oduol, because it was a cat and mouse game. Oduol says Orengo is doing this. Orengo says Oduol is doing this. Eventually, when he went to the Senate, the Senate also made their decisions to bring him back, irrespective of all the evidences that was tabled also in the Senate. You see, some of the evidences were tabled in the Senate. We saw funny accusations of somebody sitting on a chair that was constructed with I don't know how many millions, almost 5 million.
Yes.
All that was rubbished by the Senate. So you, at the end of the day, you are left confused as an electorate. Yes.
Mm.
Hello.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you.
Sure. So at the end of the day, what I think is a challenge in Kenya
Mhm.
that is frustrating our development is
Mhm.
corruption.
Yeah. Corruption has
And
been devolved.
pardon?
I say that corruption has been devolved.
Sure. And you see, the major offices that should crack the whip, even they themselves have allowed the government to use them against the constitution. Huh? If you look at the judiciary, the way they make the decisions, the
Mhm.
judiciary is doing nothing. If you look at the police, security,
Mhm.
they're doing nothing about corruption. If you look at even the today's leadership,
Mhm.
even they themselves, they have scandals that are chasing them. So it becomes very difficult because you cannot throw a stone at somebody, yet
Mhm.
you're also living in a glass house. Huh?
Mhm. Yes.
So corruption is the major problem. Some of us go there with good ideas, but you get overwhelmed when you start fighting against operation. In fact, you become a victim. Yeah.
Mhm.
So the
Mhm.
day that we shall have, you see, devolution in Kenya is semi-autonomous. At the end of the day, we have devolution,
Mhm.
and we are not fully autonomous.
Mhm.
So we still have the national government making some decision. You remember sometimes back in Kitui, when we had this governor who was principled and wanted to work for his people. At the end of the day, he was held ransom with the MCAs when the MCAs were also looking at their own interests. They wanted contracts, they wanted to do things individually, they want nepotism, employing their relatives.
Mhm.
So at the end of the day, when the constitution says that when there's such a problem and the county can't function, the
Mhm.
governor can collect signatures, go back to the people, and the assembly is demanded. And that is what he did in Kitui. When he did this, surprisingly, even the county, the residents, the electorates in the county, unanimously signed and agreed that it be dissolved because they were tired of corruption with the MCAs and
Mhm.
they wanted everybody to go back home. When it was taken back to the Senate, the back then president ended up interfering with everything and brought back the MCAs and said there's nothing that can be done. So you see, even the county governments, if there's serious goodwill on how to make these county governments operate
Mhm.
from the national level, if
Mhm.
corruption can be a monster that everybody's hunting from the national level, then it will work. Unfortunately, even the top leadership is being haunted by some cases that are following them. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you something
Yes.
again. My observation is this.
Yes.
Like most of the time, when even you are speaking at you are at the county level, yeah.
Yes.
The majority of the Kenyan citizens at the county level will not even blame the county level for not delivering, but they will take all their blames to the national government, whereby you find some of the services they need should be provided by the county, not the national
Yes.
government. So,
Mm-hmm.
w- how can we, as the citizen of a county, make sure that there's some of the services that we need, that if we have to protest, we protest for the county, but we don't protest for the national government?
This is happening due to lack of sensitization. We have a constitution that spells out that we have county governments, and now the county governments should be having some functions at the county level. But that is what I was trying to tell you, that our leaders take advantage because of lack of information. It's 10 years down the line, but you'll hardly hear of what is happening in the counties until yesterday they were having a conference is when you hear there are governors who wants to meet, do the ratings, and some of these things will shock you. If you look at how they're performing, you'll be shocked. And if you look at how much is being pumped in these county governments, you'll also be shocked. Yeah. If you look at the recurrent expenditure within the counties versus the development, you'll be shocked. Yeah. If you look at the revenue collections within these counties, yeah, some are even having negatives. You'll be shocked. And this is just because of lack of information. Some of us don't understand some of the functions that should be done by the county, and it's due to lack of information. So if it can be done in a way that the counties themselves should come out and exercise the public participation, engage everybody. You know, there's the element of public participation, and even the way most of these things are done, you'll be surprised because some of the projects, for example, the one you're asking me about, the dairy farming, if you look at, if you do your own assessment, there was lack of public participation so that everybody can be engaged. You know, when there's public participation, you are able to gauge the interest of the public, whether the project you want to do will serve the community to the expectations. You will know if they're able to sustain the project, you know. So the element of public participation and sensitization is what is lacking. But you see, they say, don't wake up a sleeping dog. That is why I think these people take advantage, because when they start waking you up, you will monitor them and they will not be able to do their normal behavior of looting, stealing, nepotism. It's just corruption all the way. So we hope and pray that there will be change in future. But to let you know again is that, you know, the constitution we have today that was passed in 2010 was brought with a very deep reason. We had a central government that started in 1963 in the Kenyatta era. Moi took over, and you remember we used to have a narrative, ya siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. There was no democracy anywhere. And when this constitution was coming in, some of the ideas that brought about some of these things that you're seeing today, like the county government and devolution we're talking about today, was because Kenyans felt that part of the countries were being isolated because of their political right. If you are not supporting the national government of the day, you get nothing. Some of us were living in the dark. For the government could, the then leadership could come campaigning, they will do this and that. And when you go for the elections and you don't vote according to how they were expected, they live in the dark. They don't implement anything. Yet we are all paying taxes to that government. So that is why devolution was brought on board. But you see, the challenge we are having today is that even this constitution that we are having, there are some people who are not for it. Those who are not for it, fortunately or unfortunately, are the people who also took power to implement the same constitution. So you can imagine the challenge we are having. The challenge we are having if the same constitution is being implemented by people who didn't support it. You are aware where Kenyatta was, Uhuru Kenyatta. You are aware where William Ruto was, who is currently the president. You are aware about the current challenges of delays in funding the counties. Yeah. So if we can have leadership that have the goodwill and the good spirit of implementing, those who understand this constitution, that is the day that devolution will succeed in Kenya. But currently, even the allocations where the county governments are getting their allocations.
Mm-hmm.
Even the allocation that is in the constitution of 15% is not enough for the counties. The 15% is something that have been advocated by the governors. You remember that one of the principles then, Raila Amolo Odinga was also pushing for an increment so that it can become 35%
30%,
and
yes.
be enshrined. Yes. So even the allocation from the government
Mm-hmm.
is still little to the county government
Mm-hmm.
compared to the devolved functions that the county government is supposed to be having. And that is why you will come to realize that a big percentage will always go to the personal monuments. That is salaries, yeah, repairs, maintenance, yeah, and
Mm.
a little is left for development.
Okay, let me also bring in another issue here.
Yes,
Like today, I've been watching about on how they've been speaking about devolution and maybe giving prizes for those who have performed well. But
yes,
when you read even the report of
yes,
Auditor General, or the reports that are there concerning the
yeah,
county,
yeah,
one, you will find the money that has been spent on projects that are not even stalled projects are there. There are those the money that people who just only supplied the counties with services. Some of them are ghost supplies, yeah. And even today, when they were going into those conferences for that 1 week, there was no even another ordinary man or ordinary Kenyan citizen from those counties who were sponsored to go to that kind of conference. The people who went there are the
sure, sure.
leadership people who are winning. Then how will they evaluate themselves? Yet the people who are supposed to be receiving the services are not even invited to air their views or to give the comment about the devolution.
Yeah, you see, it's total hogwash and cover up because at the end of the day, they are birds of the same feathers, both the national and devolution. The prizes that are being given, if you look at the report, if you look at one of the best performing counties, is at around 50 point something percent. And most of them that are performing better are between 40 to 50. The rest have nothing to show that they have done better. And you see, the challenge that they're trying to cover up is that both the national and the county are conspiring to cover up what they're not doing right. You get the point?
Yes.
The national government delays in disbursement of funds. They're playing around with the figures.
Mhm.
You remember sometimes these years the county government waited for almost 4 months.
4 months.
They couldn't pay their staff.
Yeah.
Counties were stuck. And at some point, even the figures that were being given to the counties were not enough, and the governors were being bullied by the national government so that they can toe the line. You know, when the government is also trying so hard to work with the county governments,
Mhm.
and they don't have a majority governors,
Mhm.
they start bullying them around so that they can toe the line politically, how they
Mhm.
can how they can implement their political manifest. You're aware in the last election,
Mhm.
uh, between Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, Azimio looks like had the majority governors.
Mhm.
So what the government is trying to do is that they're trying to blackmail and bully governors from Azimio
Mhm.
through delays of disbursement so that they can toe the line and implement at the same time the Kenya Kwanza political manifest. So
Mhm.
these are some of the things that the government conspire to do with the current leadership. You remember, you're aware that Anne Waiguru is a governor elected with the UDA, that is Kenya Kwanza, and he
Mhm.
happens to be the COG. And
Yes.
being that she's there, it's also possible that the government could be using her,
Yes.
yeah, to
Yeah.
make sure that these governors are friendly to the government. And when the counties depend on the government allocation, and the government comes to realize that what they read in the budget is not enough to be devolved, they don't have enough to devolve at the county level, they find mischievous or notorious ways of calling the COG to at least tone down the noise.
Yes.
So whatever you saw there is just decoration, where there is no party, but it's just decoration to show that there's a process that has happened. And even like you're saying, the public is not invited. Of course, they can't invite. It will be like a meeting of hyenas with one chicken deciding what to take for lunch. They will never give you any opportunity to raise your concern as an electorate or a Kenyan who is paying tax and is expecting results. Remember, when we have such reports indicating that counties are not performing, one of the reasons is corruption. And corruption, you must be accountable for the taxpayers' money. So when this issue about corruption is raised on such conference, they will feel embarrassed. So that is why they are very keen on only decorating it. You'll notice that the entire Wasingishu had banners of all the governors. You'll even ask yourself how much was spent on that, which allocation of was used on that. Was it even relevant to put? We all know our governors. Why do you have to take pictures of governors and put them all over in town? You can just do one banner with all the governors at the entry and do one at the exit. Why do you have to do all that? It's a waste of money. Yeah. And that is not the main objective of devolution. Yeah. So that is why I'm saying that sometimes we miss the point. But we are still not losing hope. We are not losing hope. And probably with the few governors that we've had Peter Nyang' Nyong'o, whom at least I can rate as one of the best governors. Our county is doing better. Maybe some challenges of here and there, but I was shocked he was also being rated as one of the low performing in terms of revenue collection within his county. But at the same time, I'm aware of the challenges that were there when the government was delaying the disbursement of the cash for the last 4 months. And when you have such challenges, even the people you've employed, they start becoming rogue. You can't do your work effectively. Yeah. So hopefully we are still praying that devolution works. But again, ideas, we should comb this constitution a little bit, because depending on the government allocation alone, it's not working. Yeah, it's not working. I'm thinking that sometimes we also need to adjust on where we should be getting more funding, apart from the little collections the revenue collections that we do that still goes back to the government, and the 15% that we depend on. If we can engage our counties with investors, then we can also increase the capacity of revenue collection, and it can help in service delivery. You remember there was an idea of having a 3-tier government, where between the national and the county government, we can bring in something in the middle in the name of regional block counties. Some of these counties are small and don't have the capacity of accommodating investors. Those who want to invest, they come, but if they look at the size of the county and the amount of investment they want to do, they don't match. So if we can have the regions, say even 8 regions, like we had 8 provinces, maybe we can have our Luo Migori, Siaya, Homa Bay, and Kisumu becoming one. And I think these are some of the ways of attracting investors to come on board. And then probably an idea, if we can float an idea of making these regions or the counties autonomous, fully autonomous, where your leaders can access, they can run the regional or the counties independently and leaves just some few functions for the national government, then probably that will be a big score for Kenya to develop. Rather
But
than expecting one entity, which is the national government, that is not friendly to the counties for development.
But let me ask you, these ideas, even that you are speaking about, so many people have kind of like shared these ideas. In even if you check like many of our platforms, especially like people who are very concerned about the leadership and the governance of the country. But
Mm.
the problem is when you share this with the political class or the people who are in leadership, they don't buy this. They don't buy these good ideas. Whereby, if we share this, maybe it is this kind of like a feeling that they have, like if the Mwananchi knows about this, then we are not going to take advantage of them, or what is happening with our leadership.
Benson, what I'm saying is that there's no giving up and there's no losing hope. There are countries that had the similar problems, but at some point they succeeded in what they were looking for. And it is simply because they didn't give up. They saw the future and they continue fighting and struggled so that these could succeed. Countries like France at some point had the same problems. Yeah. At some point, they had to sit down. They failed severally, but because they didn't stop, finally they succeeded. If you go to UK, where we have Scotland, the Wales, at some point they had these challenges when they wanted to be independent in some of the decisions they're making and leave a few to the national government. But finally, it came and they succeeded. So what we are saying is that even right now, with what is happening in Kenya, you are aware that we have the national dialogue that is going on in Kenya. Some of the proposed the proposed ideas, this could be one of them. And hopefully, if there is room for Kenyans to participate, we can change the constitution and add some of these things, but only if we don't give up and see some sense in it. And this is also going to come on board when Kenyans start electing the right leaders. So I believe that one day, one time, all these things will come to realization. If the day will come when even our friends from outside will stop meddling in our political discourse, then probably we shall succeed. We have a lot of resources in Kenya. If you walk in these counties, they have very sensitive, expensive minerals. They can do farming. They can succeed and do it independently. But we have some people who design. They sit down and design that the leadership of Kenya cannot be upright. So what they do is that they look for that person who cannot succeed or cannot implement the will of Kenyans so that we remain where we are. It is pure slavery. Pure slavery. And one day we are hoping that we shall all come out and stand against this. So you're aware that we've been having mandamanos, we've been having all these struggles that we've been fighting. And as we speak right now, there's a new kid in the block called National Dialogue that was passed in Parliament some few days. I think it was yesterday, not yesterday, but one. And these are some of the issues that should be addressed. Our people are suffering because of isolation. When the government of the day succeeds, You remember we have one of the top leaders, the deputy president, saying that this government belongs to the shareholders. You ask yourself, who are the, that is a deputy president speaking, that this
Mm,
government belongs to shareholders. Yet all Kenyans are paying taxes.
mm,
After elections, people go to the street protesting, fighting. Why? Because they feel they will be left out of government for another 5 years.
5 years, yes.
Another 5 years. So that is why you see blood is spilling. That is, you'll see why the government is also killing people who are
Mm,
also protesting constitutionally, whichever way they see it. But it should not be happening if we have leaders who are upright and have the goodwill of implementing this constitution. This constitution is one of the best constitutions so far in
mhm.
Africa.
Okay, thank you very much. So, when you look at on the county government, where the money sometimes is being disbursed, and if
Yes.
you look across the counties, there's the counties that are sometimes you could to see that they're doing good job. Some are not doing as they should. So,
Yes.
where is the larger percentage of the money going? Is it going on the services or it's going on the development?
Well, I'm a little bit confused
Yeah,
because this recurrent expenditure,
yeah,
again, it is largely on the personal monuments where they pay salaries.
yeah.
But you see, even salaries, that is where some of our electorates or residents get their income. So
Mhm,
you cannot deny them that.
mhm,
But corruption, you'll be shocked with some of the reports on how members of county assemblies organize trips that will be costly to the budget, the governors making unnecessary trips,
mm,
the number of meetings, the unnecessary meetings they are holding in order to get allowances. You see, that is where most of this cash is going.
mm,
And if you look at all these counties, they spend up to 80% on recurrent expenditure
mm,
and use almost 20% on development. And the
mm,
same development they're doing at the end of the day again is stalled. Why? Bad leadership. Yeah. The national government delays disbursement. The county government starts a project. There's no money to finish the project. By the time this project is ending, it is already too late. People have also time has changed. People have changed ideas. Yeah.
yeah.
So that is why you see mostly they work on the formal arrangements of maybe building hospitals, police station, yeah, which is also not a bad idea. Road maintenance, you see,
Mhm,
but the challenge, and that is why there's a proposal for the county allocations to be increased from 15% to 35.
yes.
Yeah, and you see, we also have CDF.
Mhm,
Yeah, we
yeah.
also have CDF, but at the same time, you see, MPs at the national government
Mhm,
should not should not in any way be involved in CDF. It's either CDF should be independent
mhm,
or should be a devolved function to the counties because most of what they're doing are things that the county government can do.
can do.
Yeah, and that is where I was almost forgetting. That is where we also have another challenge. Yeah,
Mm,
the duplication of projects between the national government and counties. You know, if you're a legislator, you should be strictly legislating laws. I
mhm,
like it the way it is at the county level, even though the MCAs are requesting that they also be given their own allocations like CDF.
yeah.
But you cannot play oversight and at the same time decide what is supposed to be done.
Done.
You get the point?
Yes.
You cannot be an MP who approves how much you want to come in your county, the same MP does what we call oversight on the money that has been stolen within his office.
Mhm.
Yeah, you will never find where this money goes. That
Mhm.
is where they conspire with the committees, the parliamentary committees, when they're doing audits on what has been lost. And the same carries the day at the counties. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll wonder where this cash is going, but it's all because of laxity from the national government. There are several cases from the ethics and anti-corruption
Mhm.
that have not been executed. Some of these governors, some of these governors have not been taken to jail
Mhm.
for more than 5 years.
Mhm.
Yeah, their cases are just running left, right, and center.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, so the judiciary need to do something. So
yeah,
there's also this issue. I think like I don't know how many months ago, but I cannot actually say how many months. But there was a time it was written in the papers that Kisumu County wanted to bring back the health sector back to the national government due to the fact that the county was receiving so much in terms of patients such that the county could not manage. Do you feel like there are some services that should be taken back to national government and those that should be brought back to county assembly, to the county government, I mean?
yeah. You see, we have a crisis with the health centers and the entire fraternity of the medical practitioners,
Mm.
in the sense that you see, the government claims that they have devolved health center, but they delay their payments at like the TSC. If you compare how the education operates with the TSC, you see TSC is independent with how they do they manage their recruitments, the way the national government pays. But you cannot say that you've devolved health
Mm.
to devolution and hold the rest at the national level. So it's either they devolve the entire thing and allow the governors to manage everything, or they take it back in
Mm.
full. And that is why you'll see medication all over the country is poor.
Mm.
Yeah. Our doctors are frustrated. Infrastructure in our medical facilities are not standard, and you know how expensive these some of these machines can be.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's either they decide, either the national government takes the entire thing, they manage it, or they devolve it to the county government and let the county government manage the entire thing. That is where there has been a problem, because it's like they're playing around with the funding. That is where you see the delays in disbursement is affecting some of these counties. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, earlier when you were talking, you did speak about the revenue collection, yeah,
Yeah.
at county level.
Yes.
When the revenue is collected, where is this money going to? Does it mean that they are still taking it to national government or they're going to have it? Because sometimes I usually think I might be thinking wrong. I usually
Yes.
think when the county government are doing their budget for the year, yeah,
Yes.
I think
Yes.
they should have like approximation and say like on the budget of 2020, 2022, 2023, or 2023,
Sure.
2024, our
Sure.
estimation collection will be 2 billion. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if it is going to be 2 billion, then what will happen in case we run short of 2 billion? Then we should ask the national government to give us the deficit.
Yes.
Or I don't know whether that one can work or how does it work? I don't know.
Now, what you're saying is what happens, yeah?
Yeah.
Every county has a target
Yeah.
on how much is to be collected.
Yeah.
Then, if you look at the report, most of these counties did not even score more than 20% of the revenue collections. And most of the reasons why they are the reasons they are giving why they did not succeed is, one, they say that the delays in disbursement from government. They're also saying that they have a challenge with the what do we call it? They have a challenge with the work plan that they have, and that is why you'll see even the report that was given on the performance. The best had around 57, and at the same time, they also have loopholes. It's just about corruption. They also have loopholes that does not give them enough to do good revenue collection. And you see, even the counties, if they don't develop some of their properties, because they must have ways of collecting this revenue, they must build markets, they must have well-equipped hospitals, they must have some of the ways, the properties they have that they collect revenue, housing. You get the point?
Yeah.
If we have counties that does not do this, then it is obvious they cannot collect enough. If you have a market that does not have the capacity of producing enough revenue, you cannot collect enough. If you have a workmanship that does not operate well in terms of collection because of corruption, we used to have some of the staffs collecting money and channeling it to other people's pockets. I've seen at least the current county government is advancing on how to do it through these ETR machines. I don't know how they're called, for accountability. But these are some of the challenges that are facing these counties. If they don't operate on development projects that can generate for them revenue, then they don't have anywhere to go and get this money. But I'll tell you that that is what is happening within the budget. Each and every county is given a target, and the counties in general are also given targets on how much they should be collecting. But I'll tell you that the amount that has been collected, the amount that has been collected is too little. Is too little. Mm.
And again, who is usually in charge of let's say, like, let's take example like our county, Kisumu County.
Yes.
Who do they have, like a revenue collection department that deals with the money collected, or the KRA has to come in? Because like if you see like most of the areas like advanced world, I might be wrong, you might find like when it comes to collection, we have, when you take taxes, there are situations where places where you find like you pay like taxes twice. One, you
Yes.
pay taxes for the national government, then you pay taxes for the county government, whereby the taxes for national government will go to the government. Then when you come to areas like let's say like registration of the cars, yeah, you are doing
Yes.
registration. Each and every county has its office whereby you register your car in your county. You get a number plate for that county, even if you move to the other county. But when you are registering that car, it's registered in that county. So you find like the money stays in the county. It doesn't affect the national government. I don't know whether we do it like that the same way in other counties and national government.
Well, the county governments,
Mhm.
of course, have their own institutions that works on the revenue collection, but there's a separation on what KRA does and what the county government does. Yeah.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, there is auditing from the national government on what has been collected within the county, that at the end of the day will reveal if there's anything that is lost and the performance of this county. So what you're saying is a good idea that are being implemented in other countries, but here what we have is that when the county collects the cash, they remit this cash to the national government, and there's an audit that is done by the national government. So I think I answered your question.
Yes, but to me, I might be thinking this way. If at all we have also have to put the county government into check, because if the county government has budgeted for this year, we are going to collect this kind of money, yeah,
Yes.
and they don't even fall at 50% of their budget, right?
Yes.
Then at the same time they are pressurizing the national government to give them
Yes.
money, yet they don't put in systems that can make them collect the revenue based on their expectation. Because as a county, you know
Sure.
where to pay. Yeah.
Sure.
How
Sure.
comes if I know this is what I should be collecting, especially when it comes to licensing of businesses, those ones should be done by the county. You have to make sure that all the businesses in the county are licensed.
Yes.
You have to make sure maybe all the markets, those who are going to all markets, they have to pay on a daily basis, or somebody has to have like one receipt for 1 month, or you can do it on a yearly basis. So we know we gauge ourselves, you know.
Mm.
But this is a situation whereby we know that, but still we cannot even hit even a half of our budget. Where is the
Yeah,
problem?
and that is what I'm saying.
Mm,
That is what I'm saying. What happens in Kenya
mm,
is that when the government disburse funds,
yeah.
you are not given the entire budget at once.
Mm,
It's either done in quarterly or
oh.
half a year.
Mm,
So what happens? I think mostly it's quarterly. What's happened is that when you are given the first bunch, in order for you to do what? To get another one, you are expected to give returns on what was done
mhm,
with the previous allocation that you are given.
yeah.
So this is where, if you fail to do it, because people expect service and delivery, they cannot stop from giving you funding the county government because of an individual.
Mm,
So what they do is that if you fail to submit your returns on time, their accounting officers are audited and questioned on what might have happened with the funds that were allocated to that county. That is where we expect the law enforcement to come on board to take charge and arrest if there is any corruption case.
yes, yeah.
So those people should be arrested. If there is any case that should be open, that is why we have, where if a specific ministry have lost some amount, the accounting officer must respond where this money went to. If he cannot respond to, the law will catch up with him or her. If he's found guilty, then he's thrown out of office and somebody else is arrested. But in the spirit of fighting corruption, then what should be happening is that if you're mentioned in such corruption cases, then you should step aside and let that office be investigated. Unfortunately, that is not what happens in Kenya. And that is why the breed of corruption is becoming even stronger. Somebody will be accused, tomorrow he's just in the same office, or you'll find that the authorities are aware, or maybe he did it for the authorities. What you'll see the following day is transfer. Somebody is taken from this office to the other office.
Which is not solving.
Yes?
Which is not solving the issue.
Yeah, it's not at all, because when this is the trend, what do you expect that will happen with the big fish? That is how they do it. When they want to drain or they
Mm,
want to fish,
mm,
they take somebody, put him there strategically. That is why I was telling you, our leaders reward their friends in these positions to use them so
mhm,
that they can achieve whatever personal interest they want to.
mm,
Once they've achieved it, they push you aside. That is why I'm telling you, we have several cases
mm,
with the ethics and anti-corruption, but none of them
mm.
has been executed.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Kevin. As we just about to wind up, and
Yes.
I just want to bring you back. You spoke about there are two things that you spoke about earlier, and
Yes.
I just want to follow up with you. One was an issue of bipartisan talks that are going on right now,
Yes.
and based on what is there, and when we look at the chronology of what made us to be in the bipartisan talk,
Yes.
I will talk on the basis of the Azimio, based on what Azimio was demanding. Yeah.
Yes. Mm.
First, it started by Azimio were demanding one, the reinstatement of Serera 4.
Yes.
Two, they were talking of opening of the server.
Yes.
Three was lowering of cost of living.
Yes.
Yeah, those are the main three that I would talk of.
Mm.
Then that one went. Then it came collection of signatures. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Then it now after collection of signatures, then there was some maandamano. Then we are at the partisan talk.
Yes.
But based on what we are seeing, we are still waiting for the report. Um,
Mm.
the youth agenda is going to be part of those talks because the people who suffered most during until we reach there, the youth agenda, they are the people who were in the protest, cost of living and everything. Are they going to be
Yes.
there?
Well, that is a very good question. And at some point, I've been trying to reach out, but nobody's listening. And I'm glad you asked the same question.
Yeah.
Now, in every country,
Yeah.
the youth stand to be the backbone of the economy. And when the government is not performing or delivering as expected, the major people who get frustrated are the youth. And that is why you'll see them protesting very bitterly. You know, when you're a youth, it's either you're between 20 to 45.
Mhm.
And in most cases, at this age, you are facing a lot of challenges. You are a little bit confused. You want to get married. You want to have a better job. You want to have children. You want to put food on the table. And when the government is not delivering, then
Mhm.
the people who are frustrated are the youth.
Mhm.
And that is why, at the end of the day, you will always see the youth aggressively participating in these mandamanos
Mhm.
and fighting for what they
Mhm.
believe is their right. So, just like you said it, the bipartisan talk that was made
Mhm.
after the elections had some agenda. And you see, the agendas that were put on the table are cutting across the entire nation. Whether you are an old person, whether you are a youth, whether you're a child, you are affected by the cost of living. The Cherera 4. Why should we be having an election after every 5 years? And at the end of the day, we are denied what is rightfully ours. Yeah?
Mhm.
Opening of the server. Why should we pay taxes to be used in an election? At the end of the day, you are denied to audit what your taxes has been used on. Yeah?
Mhm.
Now we are having a new kid called national dialogue. It is not bipartisan anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It is called national dialogue. And the same agendas that were put on the table in the bipartisan talk are the same that have been arraigned in this national dialogue. And you see, there's some internal intrigues that maybe we might not be privy to, but we are hoping that the major crisis that is affecting us is the cost of living, and that is the priority. We don't care about the elections as much as this issue of cost of living. Of course, elections will change our leadership,
Mm-hmm.
but the cost of living today is what is interfering with us. Most of the youths cannot earn a good living because of inflation, lack of jobs. If you can have a deputy president saying that you have graduated but there are no jobs, and the only job that they have is from Jengo,
Yeah.
you see, that is a crisis. Your
Yeah.
parents have spent millions of shillings
Mm-hmm.
teaching you. At the end of the day, you're told there's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? So these are some of the challenges that we are trying to fight for. But any, we are hoping that any achievement
Mm-hmm.
indeed will benefit all of us.
Okay.
We are looking at it as what will help us
Mm-hmm.
as a country. We are
Mm-hmm.
the pillar behind this struggle, but we are looking at what will help us as a country.
Okay. I
Yeah,
will.
so far so good.
If we find time after the 60 days, they hand over the report, and we will read it in the public. I will invite you here again so that we can discuss about the report. And my last question is,
Yes.
at the conference, the ambassador of US was given a chance to speak, and he spoke about the election of Kenya. I can quote. He said it was fair, and like it was a free and fair election. And me and you know that we there are places that we are not agreeing with that, because election is not all about voting. Election is all about the process. If the process is not fair, even the voting is what is not fair. We are not focused so much on the voting thing, but we are focused on the process of it until we reach the election, and even the announcement of the results. Yeah. What is your take?
Now, you see, that is one of the things that we didn't expect at all to come from the mouth of that ambassador. And I think it is a very big embarrassment to the American country if they still have colonized languages like that. Africa today, almost the entire Africa is independent today, and they are capable of making their own decision. We don't need an ambassador from America to come and verify what happened in the elections. We have graves that are still fresh. Our people died protesting against the elections that took place in the 2022. Why? They want an accountability of what happened. That is what they're asking, my friend. Even at school, when you go to school, you'll be doing an examination. You'll be doing an examination, and even those teachers, when they do an assessment on you, your parents will expect to see a report card on how you performed. They'll want to know, what did you get in maths? Of course, you are number last, or you're number 2, or you're number 1. But they still want to know, what did you get in maths? What did you get in English? What did you get in CRE? That is accountability, so that you are able to do good assessment. And that is what we are asking for as Kenyans, especially in the past elections. It's not even in the 2012 election. We know what happened in 2007. People died. ICC came on board. Up to date, we don't know who was caught in. We didn't get even any justice. Yeah.
Yeah.
2013, we had the same scenario. The courts played along with the sitting president. Again, we had in 2017, Raila just decided to shake hands with the sitting president. And in 2022, the same thing is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we want credibility and faith in these elections that we are handling. That is what we are yearning for as Kenyans. Otherwise, there's no point of having an election. Yeah. Especially now that we have a very sensitive team on board ironing out these issues. Who is she to come and start making premeditated judgment on what is going to, on what is happening? It was a devolution conference. Why did he have to speak about elections on a conference that was discussing issues of devolution? I think she's personal at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know the role they played, but the way she's behaving, she looks like she's personal with some issues about Kenya. Yes.
Okay, Mr. Kevin Gala, thank you so much for your time, and I'm very happy, and I would say thank you so much again for honoring our invite. We
Yes.
will be inviting you again on this channel to talk
Yes.
about issues of leadership and how we can create awareness to our people so we can know what is our rights as a Kenyan citizen and
Sure.
what the rights of the leaders, what they should do. Yeah. And
Yeah.
maybe your last words to our viewers who are watching and who will be watching it later.
Thank you very much, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And hopefully we will invite you again so we can speak.